Yeah, Lon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Although I can't see your video, I wonder if you have actually switched it off or.
Can you see it now?
I can't, but that's probably okay. Can you see me?
I do not.
That's awesome. All right. I don't know what I should do here.
That's okay. I'm okay if we can just talk.
Yeah, it's all right. That's all right. Hey, Ray, so I want to just reach out and just get introduced at least. And then, 30 minutes is obviously really short, but I wanted to at least start discussing with you, what you're thinking in terms of your priorities and how, if you take your priorities in terms of the business and how product is able to partner with you, right? Love to take sort of the high level view from you today. And, frankly, I've been in touch all the time, so I would love to get deeper and deeper as we go along and learn with you what your customer base is looking for and how we can actually delight them, right? So wherever you want to start, I'm totally open to that. And just maybe as an introduction really quick, I've been in the US for the last 17 years. I've been always wanting to be in ed tech. And so when Simplilearn happened, and I wanted to be closer to family as well. So two things happened. One is I'm passionate about ed tech. And B, I could get closer to family. So Simplilearn was just the perfect match for what I was looking for. So I'm in Bangalore now. I'll be located here, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person where we'll have a much deeper conversation.
Great. Well, very nice to meet you. Now, you lived in Austin for those 17 years?
Correct. Austin, Texas.
So did you like it down there?
I loved it. The only reason I would consider leaving Austin is because of family, right? And frankly, ed tech too. I mean, that's a passionate area for me. I wanted to actually become a professor at one point in time. So teaching is something I actually enjoy, just at a personal level, right? So yes, otherwise, if Simplilearn hadn't happened, I would have continued in Austin just the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, it's now becoming mini California. So many Californians have moved there the last 2 to 3 years.
That is actually right. All my neighbors are from California.
Well, let's kind of talk about current priorities. So, so the reason I'm here is Ram Gupta, and Ram, has really committed to the enterprise business for Simplilearn, and has seen me, that's my specialty is growing enterprise business. So he convinced me to join. So I wasn't really looking for a new gig or ed tech.
Got it.
But I'm very excited. So as I've come in here, what's very interesting is we have Market Motive, which does have pretty good brand recognition in the enterprise community for digital marketing training. So if you look at my priority, I've got a $5.5 million number for the next 12 months.
Okay, from 3,
that's
right?
Coming off about a $2 million Market Motive enterprise number.
Okay.
So my number one priority is how do I get to 5.5 million?
Got it.
Now, probably the easiest way to get there is to enter with our digital marketing solution into the Fortune 1000. And then once we land, expand into the other categories in the Simplilearn catalog.
Did you say that was Fortune 5000? Did you say Fortune 100? What is your target?
Fortune 1000 across about 8 targeted vertical industries, including consulting, financial services, technology, advertising agencies. Those will be like 4 to 5 of the biggest.
Got it. I'm writing notes, by the way, so if you see me typing, if you hear me typing, that's what I'm doing.
It's okay.
Got it.
So now, since we're going to enter with digital marketing as our lead, I do want to start to introduce an integrated catalog and an integrated platform that can reach all the students. What that means, Anand, is I want to, as soon as possible, have the initial phase 1 implementation be on the Simplilearn LMS. Because most of the enterprise customers of Fortune 1000 will start with a limited scope pilot program, anywhere from 3 to 6 months in duration, anywhere from 50 to 1,000 students in the first phase.
Got it.
Once they see the proficiency-based outcomes and the completion rate, then they will expand that not only to more students for that category, but to other categories.
Got it.
The reason I highlight this, I do not want to implement them on one platform that's limited to digital marketing and then require a transition to the Simply Learn platform to expand the relationship.
Got it. Makes sense.
So that's why if you look at critical needs I have using this land and expand strategy, the B2B functionality for LMS is going to be critical.
Got it. So the good news for you really quick, by the way, and this is day number 8 for me. One thing I'm sensing here already is there's a really high sense of urgency with the B2B LMS. So the good news is the teams are acting with the urgency that you are conveying to me. And by the way, just heads up for you, over the next few weeks, I'll be making changes and, adjusting things in the teams to start getting more velocity, right? I think what's happening is the team is hamstrung by a few things that I have to go fix. But I can tell you the urgency and priorities definitely felt here. I can see that day to day.
Yeah, and I feel that too, but it's a little bit like we know we need to run really fast, but we're not sure exactly where we're going. So you exert a lot of energy, but you don't get to where you ultimately want to be.
Yes, and by the way, Ray, you're getting into a topic that I wanted to deep dive with you a little bit. So visibility to you, I'm actually an enterprise guy. I came from enterprise. I've sold into enterprise all my career. So this is the first time I'm actually going to consumer plus enterprise. And one thing I've noticed with enterprise at least, right? So there's typically you want to get to an 80-20 rule, and you can keep me honest here in how you're thinking about it, right? Where 80% of what we sell is pretty templatized, and people can just off the shelf take it and use it. And then there's 20% of the enterprise that always will want customization, always. And there's nothing you can do about it. And these tend to be the really big whales that say, you know what, you've got a good thing going, but hey, I need these 4 other things. Do this for me, right? So this is typically what I've seen in the enterprise business. My assumption, and you can keep me honest here, is that this is not going to be that different, and that you would probably have a bunch of customers that are going to ask for customizations at some point in time. That's assertion A. Go ahead.
Yeah, you always have that, but I don't believe that you should design for the target audience size of 1, even for that one's a well. So what I see more of is the need for configurability versus customization.
Perfect. I like it.
I'll give you a couple examples. Of course, in the enterprise community, you always want to lead with results, i.e. show them dashboards, reports about what type of performance or outcomes they can have, and then talk about how you achieve that with our solution.
Yep.
So reports such as student starts, student completion rates, right, student certification rates, all the reporting, all they want to do is be able to configure that for their specific environment.
Makes sense.
Number 2 is Learning Pass. Even though we may sell them on our digital marketing FlexiPass or All Access Pass, what we're finding so far is even if there's 8 courses and 20 sections per course, they may only want to take 4 courses, and in one course they take 6 sections, and another course they take 8 sections, because they want to tailor or configure the learning path for their student population.
Yep.
So we're going to need to make sure that we don't have a rigid or hard-coded learning path that everyone must go from 1 to 2 to 3. They need to go from 1 to 5 to 2 to 8 if they need to.
Got it. Makes sense.
And then number 3, I think chief learning officers at Fortune 1000 always like to be able to promote their brand and their messaging in the voice of their company. So customized landing pages, or portals as we call it, will be an important configurability for the enterprise market.
Got it. I'm writing this down. Let me ask you another question really quick. So one thing I would like to partner with you a little bit also is, I don't know if you're doing discovery type calls with any of these customers. One thing I want my product team to be very, very much as a brand, right, is that we're very in touch with customer needs. And so one question I do have for you is, if you're doing, so obviously these are hypotheses at this point in time, right, based on the experience you've had. And by the way, they seem very logical, make a lot of sense. But I'm assuming, and if not, you and I can probably partner on this, right? I'm assuming we're going to go reach out in either qualitative fashion where we pick 5 to 10 customers and ask these questions, or B, we actually get something of a quantitative survey out that we target the Fortune 1000 and get sort of that input that guides the direction. So A, are things like that happening? And if yes, then great, would like to be plugged in. If no, then B, could you and I partner together to actually start getting some qualitative, quantitative feedback and help direct the roadmap between what your needs are and how the product comes together?
So I've completed 3 weeks, so I'm just a little more senior than you. So I haven't had enough of those discussions with the target market yet. However, I think there will be 2 things we can do. Number one, a lot of times the discovery process is around course content and not the delivery platform.
Okay.
So, but what happens is after they make a purchase decision on the course content or curriculum, then when we get to deployment, they start looking at platform functionality. So, and a lot of times in the Fortune 1000, we're talking to people who have some real LMS experience, or they may even have their own internal LMS.
Right.
But they don't want to invest the time to load our content into the LMS until they see what type of student engagement we have.
Got it.
So, 2 things I'd recommend. Number one, for some of our large customers, such as Microsoft and VMware that we've just signed up and deployed in the last 30 to 45 days, I've asked their head of learning if they would sit down with us and give us their priorities as far as LMS functionality that they don't see in our current platform.
Wonderful.
I would love to do that with whether it's you or your head of the product, to have them actually be part of those conversations.
That'd be great.
Number 2, maybe we could actually have a mini focus group where we could get 4 or 5 of our not quite as big customers who have been using the Market Motive LMS for the last 6 to 18 months, and have your product team actually kind of have a focus group where they can respond directly to your questions or even provide you feedback from the current screenshots that you have.
Yeah, I love that idea, but let me maybe try to see if we can change the participation. So I'll tell you, it's a little bit of a newcomer's bias, right? And you can tell me again if I'm off base and you think this is different, right? I worry about actually getting our installed base customers in these conversations, although we can probably include 1 or 2, for the simple reason that what got us to where we are today is not going to get us to where we want to go, right? And my understanding of Market Motive is that it has been pretty successful, but if you're thinking of that 200%, 300% growth that you're looking for from 2 million to 5 million, I am not convinced, and you can tell me otherwise, that Market Motive customers are the template of what we're looking for, right? I would actually rather, I'll put this on the table, I'm happy to work with a research firm and actually pick and choose a bunch of non-customers that would be aspirational customers that we want to go after. We pick 5 to 10 of these, include 1 or 2 Market Motive customers as well in that mix. And then basically with these 5 to 10 folks that are mostly not our customers, but we aspire to get, we basically ask these same questions. So it's more of a mix of people that we would add in that focus group, but let me know if I'm off base and you think differently. I'm happy to work this any way you want.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I just, the nuance that I'd share with you, which was hard for me to understand, an example like Ford Motor Car, we're going to have a phase 1 pilot starting there in about 30 days.
Yep.
And they're going to initially have that delivered through the Market Motive LMS because it's easier to get going. But the chief learning officer has their own LMS. They're looking at a new platform. They love Grovo, which is kind of more of a micro learning platform. But they would give us feedback based upon the competitive evaluations they've done, not based upon preconceived biases of knowing the Market Motive LMS.
Got it. Okay,
So
I see what you're saying.
I agree we should go to the aspirational target community and get their feedback too. I just don't want to discount some of these newer customers who didn't buy us for the LMS but have great knowledge of the LMS market and what corporate buyers are looking for.
Makes sense. So maybe it's actually 2 different sessions, right? One, we look at our existing install base with Market Motive, and then B, we take it, here's the aspirational list, and you obviously can help us define what that is, right? And we almost do 5 of each, right? And we get a sense of what is sort of common themes that are coming out of those.
Perfect.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let me start working with the team here to see, and Ray, if you have a set of customers, so install base, I would love your help, right? Because you probably know those customers and you have the relationships already built. I think that's an easier one for us to get together with your help. And yes, Tushar and I probably attend that and kind of, really get involved deeper in the architecture of what they're looking for, the needs versus the actual technical, features. The second piece is basically the aspirational target. If you said Fortune 1000 and you gave me 4 or 5 segments, right? So what I can do is I can take those 4 or 5 segments in the Fortune 1000 and maybe handpick a few. And let me see if I can get actually one of these recruiting firms. And I used to use them in the US all the time, where for a certain sum, they'll basically assemble a crew of CIOs or chief learning officers or whoever you want, and they can create these focus groups for us. So what I can do is on B, I can act on those and maybe work with you to figure out how we get that together. Does that sound like a good starting point?
Sounds great.
Awesome. All right. And in the meantime, I'm already looking at the B2B LMS. I'm attending their Scrum meetings every day. So if there are obstacles, things that are blocking the team, I'll be very heavily involved. So I wanted to just give you awareness of that. You're going to be here which days again?
I will arrive and be in the office Monday, April 11th through Friday, April 15th.
Got it. Perfect. I will be here as well. And we should definitely try to do lunch or do something, spend some time together. I would love to, the B2C, the thing is, I'll tell you pretty honestly, right? There's a lot of thought leadership here in B2C. That's what this company was founded on, right? But B2B and enterprise, I think we have to build, and Market Motive has a big head start in the sense of, we already have customers there, right? But I personally want to spend a lot of time on the B2B use cases a lot more, because I can't get that right now within the company here. And you plus the Market Motive team is probably the closest to people that actually have a vested interest and want to make that work. Of course, Krishna and everybody's also having they have the same vested interest, but I'm just saying that muscle doesn't exist here, right? So I want to see if we can build that with your help here.
Yeah. Now, the 2 people that you should probably have a longer conversation with are the kind of 2 principals behind Market Motive, John Marshall and Michael Stebbins.
Okay.
So, they have been working in this industry for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
The market feedback they received is what's led to where Market Motive, the platform, is today. And not saying that's where we want to be, because to your point, we want to look forward, not backwards.
Right.
But they'll be able to provide you a lot of insights on why they made the decisions they made.
Got it.
Such as the custom portals and the custom learning paths.
Wonderful. Would you mind doing an introduction over email for me? And then I
will do that.
Yeah, and after that I can take it from there and I can set up a discussion with him after that.
And John Marshall was really more of the CTO or head of engineering behind that. And Michael was more of the product manager SME.
Got it. Wonderful. Yeah, if you do an introduction for me, I would love to spend a lot of time with these guys and really understand their thinking and where they've been and how they've been sort of structuring the whole product delivery from Market Motive's perspective. So, learning, that's what I'm doing right now. I would love to understand the B2B and enterprise side more. And I'm actually meeting with
one
Ryan.
One of the things I would recommend is often people start with the transactional feature function. I would really probably recommend look at the reporting requirements that have been built and what our target buyer wants to be able to see as success and outcomes, and make sure that we have the transactional data model to support that reporting. I'll give an example. A lot of times they may say, yeah, we have students taking digital marketing, but we have 28 in this department, 52 in that department, 129 in that department. Oh, and by the way, we have 10 in this different division. We want to look at how people are completing their courses by individual, by department, and by business unit. And as you know, that's not just a reporting issue, that's a data model and hierarchy.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Wonderful. Hey, Ray, this was super, super helpful. Let me get started with the team, and I want to rapidly get some. Obviously we are doing table stakes B2B LMS type stuff. That's not going to stop. But in parallel, I do want to start building some qualitative and quantitative intelligence within the group here, with your help, right? Where we have a pretty good sense of what the market's looking for. And yes, we are in the early stage of how we sell this, but there have to be pretty good themes that we can identify and go after really hard. And I think you've identified some of these already. I think the next step is just getting focus groups together, to your point, and doing some really quick qualitative discovery with them. So if you can get the install base part of it together, I could start looking at the sort of, hey, here's our aspirational target, and let's get a research company get this focus group together for us.
Yeah, one other thing I just want to share, and this is something that, because of my background, one of the things I've done is kind of launched a marketing automation software company about 10 years ago. And what we're finding with student engagement, you almost need to treat the student like a target audience member of a marketing nurturing campaign,
Yeah.
where if they have signed up but they haven't started the course, we need to have the ability to send a message out to implore them to start. Or if they're 10% complete, then there could be some type of automated campaign structure that reaches out to them and say, by the way, you're only 3 hours away from completing section 5.
Ah,
So kind of build that workflow in, I'll call it outbound marketing touch within the platform itself.
got it. That makes sense. And a lot of it could be even automated, right? So I understand what you mean.
Yeah, so you can even say, okay, for this segment of my learners, people have completed less than 25%. Here's a message I send out every 7 days.
Yeah.
For people who are at 75% or greater, here's a message I send out.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Wonderful. Hey, Ray, just one more question before, we only have 5 minutes left. Let me ask you another question, which is your experience with working with a team here so far, and be blunt, right? Because I'm trying to figure out, as I figure out the engagement model between our teams, how it should work, right? What's worked well, what's not worked well, what needs to change?
Well, so what I'm going to share with you is more, symptoms, because I don't know the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have a discussion about a topic they're interested in, like reporting,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just goes silent for 2 weeks. And we don't kind of get any feedback on what the status is or if there's progress.
Got it.
So it just, from my perspective, it just seems like nothing's happening, but I know that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think because there's not clear whether it's a scrum where we determine the use cases or stories, or really detailed requirements developed.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're spending time in cycles of trying to determine exactly what the priorities are, but they don't actually know what they are.
Understood. I think what needs to happen, by the way, just visibility to you, one thing I am going to be pushing the teams is, as these mock-ups for features get done, I need the stakeholders to actually see them, right? So I don't think I think what's happening is, there's work going on, mock-ups are being created, but they're not being widely distributed, right? So I think what needs to happen is you or your designate should be copied on these things and should be able to have a say in it and say, but wait, this doesn't work, we can't sell this, right? So I think that's what's missing here. And the second thing I'm going to, over time, start doing is I'm going to have the backlog, the story backlog, completely shared within the company. So if anybody wants to take a look and browse through it, great, do it. So 2 things do need to happen, I think, and we will get there.
Great. And I think if we also just have, whether it's a weekly, and it might be weekly cadence for now, just a quick touch base. Hey,
Sure.
Here's the progress we've made. Here's the new, whether it's the wireframes or screens we've designed. Does this look right?
Got it.
Because I don't know what type of sprint length you have there or a point system, but it seems like there's really not kind of a short cycle sprint approach.
Yeah, just so you know, it's 2 weeks. The sprints are 2 weeks. I don't know specifically with the one that you're talking about where it sits in the backlog. I'll have to go dig a little bit. But there is, and I'm being very honest with you, I'm seeing what's going on with these teams here. And I do think there's a lot of pressure from a lot of directions, which I'm going to have to try to figure out how to isolate the teams a little bit so that they can actually get good work done. Typical startup, right? Support, sales, everybody's pounding on these guys. And so they're getting ADD a little bit, right? So in the next weeks, I'm going to start structuring things a little bit where, hopefully there's an escalation team that handles all the day-to-day stuff. And this team is really focused on actually delivering features in the product, right? So right now you're also seeing the teams have this ADD of multiple people asking multiple things from them. Although the B2B LMS for the most part is isolated and it's really focused on what you need, right? So that was actually easier. So we should be able to do a weekly touch point and even give you visibility to what the backlog looks like. That's an easy one.
And my question is, do you have a designated or dedicated product manager for the B2B portion of the LMS?
Yes, there is. You've already talked to Tushar Bansal, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, but he seems to have to touch so many things. I
Yes.
just don't think he has the bandwidth to prioritize this.
That's right. So Tushar Rana is actually the guy reporting to him. And Tushar Rana is the guy who's actually the product manager of B2B LMS. And let me do this. Let me get an introduction call and let's start building a structure of weekly cadence and what we review there. So let me get Tushar and Tushar, 2 Tushars. And by the way, Tushar Bansal is Tushar Rana's boss, right? So I'll keep Tushar in the loop as well, but Tushar right now would be a day-to-day guy where he's actually running the scrum, he's running the backlog pruning, he's doing the mock-ups, and he's doing all the hard work there.
Got you. Now, I think the other challenge we have, and I know you've got to run, but we really don't have that deep subject matter expert here in the States. You've got a couple senior salespeople, you've got the founder, but you don't really have that product management type person here in the US. So that also contributes to the challenge.
Got it. And I think if you have a weekly touch point, we can probably get that resolved to some extent. But you should probably advise me on, if long-term you think we need to actually put somebody there with a really good expertise, that is definitely something we can discuss.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to need a couple pretty good, I'll call it project managers, implementation resources, not technical resources, but more project and SMEs. And maybe one of them can become a pseudo product manager that provides you kind of trend analysis and the more common themes that we're seeing in the marketplace.
That makes sense. Let's discuss the video here. Happy to support you in any way I can.
Okay.
Wonderful. Hey, Ray, really great meeting you and looking forward to meeting you face to face.
Okay, Anand, thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.